Thank you for tuning into the JMKing Podcast with Jonathan M. King. That's me. Whatever platform you're listening from, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Podbean, Pandora, Amazon Music, Listen Notes, Player FM, or Google Podcasts, we appreciate you joining us. And now, on with the episode. Welcome back, JMKing Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan M. King, joined by my go-to guy for talking all things movies, Matthew Francisco, a.k.a. Movie Matt.
Season's greetings, ladies and gentlemen.
The last episode that Matthew joined us for, we ended on Star Wars. And Star Wars, which people take so seriously, arguably too seriously these days. Even Star Wars has something in its catalog that has a tongue-in-cheek tone with it. And that would be the Star Wars Holiday Special. So if something as serious and elaborate as Star Wars can get a tongue-in-cheek holiday episode, then so can we.
Woo-hoo.
We're going to have 3 segments on today's show for you. First segment, we're going to talk stocking stuffers, basically a Christmas list for Santa Claus with a film twist. Then we're going to talk about my go-to film for Christmas. And we're going to end with Matthew's go-to film for Christmas. So don't go anywhere. JMKing Podcast come right up after this break.
So gather around the fireplace, everyone.
Stocking stuffers with a twist. We've all written letters to Santa Claus or your parents if they told you Santa Claus wasn't real, whoever. With the film twist, Matthew and I have generated our own Christmas lists, 3 each, for items that we would want from Santa Claus. But the twist is that they have to be from a movie or movie universe. And my first choice is the Iron Man Mark 7 armor from the 2012 Avengers film. Now, of course, thinking very practically, you don't have it instead of having to drive a car everywhere or get on a plane, you just have a suit that just hangs up in your closet or by your door. You put the suit on, you can fly anywhere in the world. You can commute to work and back without having to deal with traffic. You could just, it's mobile, extreme mobility. You could fly anywhere you want. I don't even know how fast it goes, Matthew. I haven't fact checked this, but I'm sure it's faster than the speed of sound, which is ridiculous. It's got weapons on it and stuff. I'm not a violent person. I don't really care about that. But I'm kind of cheating here because what I'm including in the Mark 7 armor is Jarvis. Before he became Vision, Jarvis, when he was Tony Stark's AI, I mean, as a teacher, there are a lot of little logistical things that I need to take care of using my computer, like responding to emails, keeping in contact with parents via text calls. If I had a Jarvis who I could just tell, hey, listen, sort my emails like this, respond to these kinds of emails like that, then like how amazing, it's like a virtual butler. So not only can I get to work in like 10 minutes from anywhere in the world, if I'm like, or if I want lunch in like Thailand, I could just fly over to Thailand and like I'm there in 10 minutes and then eat there and then be back in time for class in 10 minutes. So not only just the practicality of the travel, but also a digital AI as a butler. Like imagine Siri, but Siri works. Like Siri sorts your emails for you.
Yeah, it's funny because I know there's some dispute about like having the suit with or without Jarvis. Like, would it come? But I mean, of course it would. I mean, imagine getting an Android without Google Assist. It's not the same thing. So of course Jarvis has to come with it.
Tony Stark is a human person. There's no way that he's able to do all of these flight, barrel roll, banking maneuvers without some kind of AI guiding his reflexes a little bit. I mean,
and who knows? Maybe your Jarvis someday will become so smart he'll grow up to be Vision, and voiced by Paul Bettany.
Paul Bettany. Can I choose the voice too? Definitely go with Paul Bettany. I remember when that one of these Liam Neeson action vehicles was coming out, and Waze, the navigation app, had some kind of promotion with it. So
oh my God.
Liam
Neeson they do that all the time.
Liam Neeson is the one giving me directions to work. Be careful. whatever his voice is.
Mm.
It's like, there's a red light camera report ahead. Be careful of the eyes in the sky. Like, that was cool.
Yeah.
Imagine that. And being able to listen to this podcast while I'm flying to work, like while I'm still groggy in the morning. I don't have to worry about piloting it myself. It's just awesome. It's so practical for so many reasons and more. I'm gonna go with the Mark 7 armor from Avengers 2012.
It's your Santa. If Santa can have a suit, so can you.
It's too big for the stocking, and it is red, kind of like Santa.
Yeah. Spreads joy around the world. You know,
My first thing I thought of.
Okay.
All right, Matt, yours.
Okay. So in typical Matthew Francisco fashion, I always try to find a loophole in all these questions. Naturally, your host here was kind of rolling his eyes at my first pick. So my first item to my letter to Santa is none other than the magical lamp from Aladdin. And why is that kind of an eye roller? Well, conveniently, I get 3 wishes from this magical lamp. I mean, who wouldn't want 3 wishes and stuff? But
you also get a friend the entire time. You get Blue Robin Williams or Will Smith. God, Will Smith, if you want that version of Aladdin.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
and you can just kind of like, you get a free friend until you're done with all your wishes.
That's true. We get to do like an elaborate dance number, and
if he likes you, he'll do stuff for you. That's not an official wish.
Exactly. Like I remember, we have this thing in my office where we always do like a question of the week. And I remember when it was my turn to ask a question, I was like, okay, guys, it's like, imagine if a magical genie came up to you and you could do 3 wishes. And I outlined very specifically, I said, okay, you can't wish for more wishes. You can't kill anybody. You can't make anyone fall in love with you. And you can't bring anyone back from the dead. Right? Did I miss anything? I think those were the 4.
I think those are the rules. No wishing for
right.
wishes.
So
yeah.
And then they kind of go like, you clearly have been watching too much Aladdin, though. So
no such
thing. I guess
thing.
like that kind of that kind of constitutes like, I guess, what would be my 3 wishes. So I guess I'll share it with you. I mean, clearly the first one, which is another cheat, world's most powerful sorcerer. Which is part of
so that you can just do whatever you want after you run out of
exactly. Yeah, I don't even need. It's like I can have all the powers of the genie without the stipulants of being a genie. So it's kind of
that
like
was Jafar's mistake.
Exactly. Like I was like, dude, Jafar, you're already like the most powerful being in the world. Like, why do you even need to be a genie? It's like exactly. So that's wish 1. Wish 2 would be of course good health for me and my loved ones.
How about everyone, Matthew? Selfish.
Well, that's true.
Why don't you just wish to eradicate all diseases forever for the end of time?
I think I'll be
for the future.
I'll be a naughty boy this year though. So maybe
it's your list.
It's my list. I'll be the selfish 10-year-old is like screaming out right now. And well, I'll redeem myself with my 3rd wish. I would set the genie free.
You're a good person.
Exactly. See?
If you set him free, then just like in the sequels, he'll still stick around and help out sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah, I get to meet my father in the 3rd one. So.
Yeah.
So yeah. So again, a little bit of a play on words or a little bit of a loophole I found, but yes, the lamp from Aladdin.
Okay. My second item. I'm going to go with the neuralizer for Men in Black. I'm going to go with the neuralizer. And not for the mischievous reasons that you're probably thinking. Shame on you for thinking I'm some kind of mischievous plotting. No, it's not about that. I'm a movie buff. You know this. Matthew, we're cinephiles.
Mm-hmm.
And there are 2 things that movie fans always wish for. One thing they always wish for is, I wish that every time I watch this movie, it was like my first time watching it. That's why it's so much fun to like watch movies with other people who've never seen it before, because you're vicariously living through their reactions. That's why I like when I show my wife movies all the time, I'm like, oh, this scene's coming up. I wonder if she's going to think this is funny. I wonder if she, and then when the kids come and they're sitting on my lap and they're watching Star Wars, or they're playing Dragon Quest on my lap or something like that. And it's like, wow, like they're watching it for the first time. I remember, so it's like that nostalgia piece also. With a neuralizer, I can just neuralize myself and forget everything in a movie and experience watching it for the first time over and over and over again. I don't know what the settings are. I don't know if you can pick out specific things for people to forget. I don't know how it works. Technology.
Well, I think according to the canon, the lore, I think the lore, yes, the lore of the films. I never read the comic books, but it's done by like date and time. So it's basically, let's say you wanted to forget the past 2 days, you would put in the date 2 days. So what today is what, December 13th to 2020. If you want to forget the past 48 hours, you would put December 11th, 2020. So boom, gone.
Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers.
I think there's a time setting as well, though.
Spoilers, people. I don't know if this constitutes spoilers, but these podcasts are not recorded the same exact day that they're uploaded. Mm-hmm. So it's December 13th right now, but that's not the date you're going to be hearing this. But anyway, so I think that if I could pick, instead of maybe forgetting everything from now and 2 days ago, maybe if I can like pick a specific day and it's like, forget everything that happened this day. And then it's like, oh, if I saw a movie that day, I don't know. I think it's a more warm and nicer reason to wish for a neuralizer. Now
Can I go off on a tangent?
Tangent away. Go ahead.
Remember that scene in the first one? And I know you don't give recognition to the sequels, but I'm going to say the first.
There are sequels?
Remember that part where when J&K were visiting Edgar Bug's house, and then there was this thingamajig that K was using to detect the soil.
Yeah, don't be red, or was it green? Don't turn green.
Right, or whatever. That's a whole different gadget, or like was that the neuralizer?
It's a completely different gadget.
Okay,
it just analyzes like samples or something, so it can tell what alien family it belongs to, creature family.
Right. It leaves a trail of sugar, water,
something like yeah. It's like,
okay.
Oh man, that was on Final Jeopardy last night. You know, when I was a kid, I thought he was serious.
Alex.
I didn't know he was joking. I didn't know he was sarcastic. He's like, that was on Final Jeopardy. I was like, why would that be a question on Jeopardy? Huh? I don't understand.
I just had to ask that because for years I thought that it was the same. I thought it was just a neuralizer with an extra little feature, but no, it's completely different.
No, it's different.
Yeah. All right, moving on.
So now the more plotting, devious reason for wanting a neuralizer. I mean, like, there are so many times I make mistakes. And there's so many times that I say the wrong thing. And then it's like, dang, that was the wrong thing to say in that moment. That was the wrong way to go about this situation. And now I know how to do it right the first time. So I could just be like, it happens a lot, like in school when I'm teaching. Like, I don't always know the best way to introduce something. Or if I get into conflict with my friends, family, loved ones and stuff, it's like, dang, that really wasn't the right way to go about this. Let me just neuralize them real quick and then like make them forget and then say it the right way the next time. You know, it's not to trick people. It's not to be deceitful. It's more so I made a mistake and I want to fix it.
You know, to kind of plug in one of our other favorite movies, Jonathan, do you remember the Omega 13 from Galaxy Quest?
Of course I remember the Omega 13.
Yeah, so it's kind of like your portable Omega 13 in some ways.
It's a portable Omega 13. And you can use it as many times as you want. I don't know what kind of batteries the neuralizer runs on. It's alien technology. I don't know. Exactly. You can do whatever you want with it. It's great. Sometimes I want to neuralize myself. Like, oh my God. Like, that was like, if someone says something to me that's offensive, like, I wish I could forget that. And just set it to like 2 seconds. Pshoo. I'm driving. Somebody curses at me. Somebody gives me the finger or something. It's like, I'm annoyed right now. Pshoo. Okay, forgot.
Oh, and don't forget the sunglasses though. You gotta wear the sunglasses with.
Oh, I'm yeah. I don't need to wish for sunglasses. They're like $5 at the store, so I'm good with those.
Wasn't there like a promotion with the original Men in Black, I think the Ray-Bans, they were like, there was like this massive like Ray-Ban.
Probably.
Yeah, it was really cool. They're
Probably.
plugging their line of sunglasses, but yeah.
So yeah, neuralizer. Please, Santa. I've been a good boy this year. I'll be a bad boy after you give me the neuralizer, but up until this point, I've been good.
Okay.
Matthew, your second thing on your list. What you got?
All right. Numero dos. You know, it's funny. We started this very special episode referencing that galaxy far, far away. For those of you who have had the pleasure of hearing my previous episode, you know, you already know my love for Star Wars. And if there's one item that embodies that entire series, it's got to be the lightsaber. It's got to be the lightsaber. I mean, other than, you know, the great maestro Ben Burt for that great hum, so it's just so iconic, and it's just it's the go-to weapon. It's like you know, when you listen, you know, you hear me a lot talk about audio commentaries because, again, apparently got nothing better to do with my life. You know, George Lucas speaks about the lightsaber not only being a weapon, but it's also a symbol of who the Jedi were, because, you know, in an age where ray guns and offensive weapons are so prevalent, it's like
so uncivilized.
Yeah, here's a weapon from a more civilized day. It's like, you know, even weapon. In the
more civilized day. I could do this all day. I'm so sorry. Keep going.
Exactly. I mean, you know, as your host shows right here, like, there's an entire monologue dedicated.
I can do this all day. See, that's another line. I could do this all. All night. Movie quotes. I could. I'm sorry. Last interruption. I promise.
We'll do a special episode on movie quotes
where we just speak exclusively movie quotes for 40 minutes for a pod
episode. Yeah. It's like the entire script will be consistent of movie quotes. But anyway, even in the most heinous act of killing, it's like a Jedi, you know, defends his or herself with the lightsaber instead of like throwing laser bullets at you. He or she will actually reflect it back at you. And also, it represents sort of, in a way, a very romanticized view of combat, you know, because, you know, shooting, you know, to do another movie quote, you know, anybody can shoot anybody. Bonus points if you know where that comes from. But
nice.
Yes, but again, there's this sort of romanticism that comes with lightsaber combat, or, you know, sword fighting combat. Is like, you have to be one-on-one with your opponent. It's like eye to eye, mano a mano. You know, sometimes they do variations of, you know, one guys or two guys, but again, it represents the intimacy. It becomes like a dance between the two combatants. And of course, because what people often forget is that Lucas is such a student of history and of culture. You know, the fighting styles of the Jedi were based on Kendo, which again is a descendant of the samurai styles of fighting back in the early days, though. So, and again, just it's like, probably, gosh darn it, it's like, besides the John Williams music, it's like, when I think Star Wars, I think lightsabers. And
because it's like there's no other weapon like it in film, and it's Star Wars. As much as the imagery of Star Wars is iconic, it's really the sounds that separate Star Wars movies. Like, there's only one freaking movie you're gonna hear that was supposed to be a TIE fighter, y'all. Like, the blaster shots, the lightsaber igniting, pew, pew, pew. It's really the sounds that make Star Wars.
Right. And I would say that's in a way, the sound design of Star Wars is kind of it's kind of the unsung hero, the secret weapon of that.
Skywalker sound is like still a thing, right? People are still contracting them to do sound effects, like original sound effects for their films.
Sure. I do want to add one caution I would have if I actually owned a lightsaber. Is like, you know, the thing I would always be scared about is like, if someone were to come over to my house and kind of like look at the lightsaber, look at it really close, and then accidentally press the button, then their face would get fried up, impaled.
Wait, grab the flashlight out of the drawer. No, that's a lightsaber.
No, don't do it. So I wonder if there's like I would imagine that the Jedi would have like implement a safety feature on it though. So I think that's the one.
Is it implied that you have to like? It isn't. I remember reading somewhere some extended something.
Yeah.
It's implied that you need some kind of force sensitivity to turn one on or something.
I mean, Han used it in Empire.
That's the one I was like, Han turned it on and cut the tauntaun open. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like you need the force to wield one the right way because it's extremely dangerous. So you need to be in tune with your senses better to swing it or something. I don't know.
If guns can have safety features on or put the safety on, I don't know why lightsaber.
Just put like a force lock on it. You need to use the force to unlock this lightsaber. To unlock your phone, you need the force.
Like force was a force face ID or
something like that.
Something like that. But yes, like that. Number 2, lightsabers.
I also want to double back to my first choice and say only I'm allowed to fly my own Mark 7 armor. And if you want to, you need my permission. Isn't that thing like built for him? I'm not talking about the nano one. I like the tactile suits better than like the Black Panther suit where it just kind of nanos over his face.
The nano one is broken. It's magic at that point.
It's just not even. It's like that's not something that can exist today. But it's cool. Remember, one of my favorite parts of just the original Iron Man movies is just that clinking sound when the mask on his face.
Right.
I want that.
We missed that.
All right, everybody. I'm heading back home. Like after I'm all the kids and I'm walking around my Iron Man Mark 7 suit, dismissing kids on the block when that's a thing again. And then I say, okay, everybody, I'm heading back home. And just take off. None of this weird. It looks like bugs are crawling over his face.
Like kind of like Spawn.
Definitely some kind of security system for your lightsaber in my suit. All right. The third thing on my list,
which was suggested by me,
by you, just some behind the scenes.
If you want to blame me for that choice, you could.
No, the only thing I'm going to blame you for is for having like 3 amazing things on your list, and me having the Mark 7 armor, and it just covers so many of my needs in once in life that thinking of 2 other ones was so hard. I couldn't think of anything else. It's like, well. Listen, it would make work easier. Commuting would be easier. Managing all my tasks would be easier to have a digital butler that reminds me of things and helps me sort my emails and things like that. Like, what else do I need in life? And it's like, oh, neuralize. That's kind of cool. Your suggestion. And then, so now the third thing on my list, we have the exploding gum from Mission Impossible 1996. Starring Tom Cruise. And who the heck is second billing? Like John Voight?
John Voight. Yeah, John Voight.
Like Emilio Estevez. I almost said his name second because I just remember him from being in the movie.
Well, he'll always be Coach Bombay to me.
He will always be Coach Bombay.
Coach Bombay.
Or Jack, who gets like crushed in an elevator. Yeah. But,
I was, what I saw? Going off into a
24-year-old movie.
Yeah, going off into a tangent. Like when I saw Coach Bombay get crushed for that, I was like, you just killed Coach Bombay. How could you do this?
I didn't see Mighty Ducks yet. I probably saw it like on TV or something, but I didn't like put the face. I'm just like, that guy looks familiar. Like, Jack, no.
Yeah. Cut the power, Jack.
That was like, cut the power. Can we just talk about that movie now instead of the stupid exploding gum?
No. Because that's what I mentioned, exploding gum, because that's one of our favorite parts of that movie. So let's talk about it.
No, you're absolutely correct. There are so many better. We earlier behind the scenes people, we were talking about the Infinity Gauntlet, but it's like, does that count? Because why would I want a stupid gauntlet without the stones? So it's like, you got to wish for the stones too. It's like a lot of logistical things with wishing for an Infinity Gauntlet. So how the heck did we come up with the exploding gum for Mission Impossible 1996? Because I was thinking about the face thing that they could do, where they make the masks. Yeah. And then you were like, yo, you know what? Why don't you just pick the exploding gum for Mission Impossible? Because you love that part. I'm like, I do love that part. I love that whole trade scene. It's got that. Yeah. Can we just talk about the trade scene instead of the stupid exploding gum?
Yeah, well, that was kind of the climax of that scene was the exploding gum.
It was because, set up, payoff. It's like, why are you sticking? No, let's rewind. Let's rewind. Because remember, there's a couple of scenes with the stupid exploding gum.
Yeah.
There's the first scene where Coach Bombay, screw it, that's his name. Coach Bombay is like, hey, Tom Cruise, check out this exploding gum. Yeah. Like, you just mash You just mash the. Oh, it's also red and green, so Christmas special.
So Christmas. That's
Christmas
what I
special.
should just do. So yeah.
So he's like, okay, excuse me. he's like, all right. Here's this exploding gum. You just mash the pieces together to like start the fuse.
Yeah.
And then like,
yeah, 5 seconds.
Hasta lasagna, don't get in the onion. Like, dude, what are you talking about? And then just don't chew it. Well, duh, haha. And then of course the scene with Kittredge and Ethan Hunt.
IMF director Kittredge. Yes.
He's like,
IMF director.
He's like, I could see you're very upset. He's like, you haven't seen me very upset. And then mashes the gum together. It like throws it at the wall or throws it at this restaurant. And this upscale restaurant that has like the whole wall is a fish tank.
Yeah.
Now, was everybody in that restaurant was the anti-IMF team? Those were all secret agent, or was that poor waiter just some innocent dude who got his face blown off by a stupid piece of exploding gum? Is that what happened?
Right. Well, no. What happened was, it's the first one's a little bit convoluted, but if you really watch it, it's really fun. So what was going on was there was another IMF team that night, because what turned out was the opening mission in that first movie was actually a mole hunt, because they were trying to find the mole. So because Hunt is kind of like one step ahead of everyone, he already deduced the fact that the people in the restaurant were the other IMF team.
Because there was the party at the embassy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he started recounting, wait a second, that person looks suspicious. That person looks suspicious. That guy in the restaurant that I'm looking right at is actually the same guy who was like serving hors d'oeuvres and thing. And he starts putting it together and he's like, oh snap, like they're really trying to arrest me. They're trying to put me in custody right now because these are all the same people. These are all the same agents from the function.
Yeah.
But Matthew, that guy, because when he threw the stupid exploding gum at the glass, at the glass whatever fish tank of a wall at the super upscale restaurant, and the guy looks at the gum and he blows up. It blows his face off and he flies out the window. Did he work at the restaurant legit, or was he like a secret agent or something? Because if it's a secret agent, I kind of feel better because it's like you signed up to be in dangerous situations. Not that you deserved it, but But if he's just a regular guy working at a restaurant who's trying to like make ends meet for his pregnant wife at home, and like his grandfather his father who lives with him because his mother recently died and we can't let grandpa live by himself. I'm trying to make ends meet by just like serving food in this restaurant, this upscale restaurant with a whole wall that's a fish tank, and then some guy throws a stupid piece of exploding gum at it, and I walk past it and it blows my face off. Was that guy just a guy, or was he an agent?
Well, I mean, you're channeling Randall from Clerks, the innocent contract. That's what he's channeling right now.
Was that episode 2 of the pod?
Yeah, exactly.
Clerks.
Innocent contract. But then, of course, but the prequels kind of tell us that they're just a bunch of termites, though. So
did that guy deserve it, or was he? Because when he looked at the gum, it's almost like he recognized it. Like he looked up at it and was like, "Oh no, it's somebody's using that stupid exploding gum gadget, and it's about to blow my face off." Or was it more like, "Who put this here?" Like I don't know.
I mean, anyway, look, say what you will about.
We haven't even gotten to the trade scene. That's just like a moment.
We gotta get
stupid exploding gum. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say what you will about Tom Hanks and his personal politics or personal life, but I mean,
it could be Tom Cruise.
Gosh, okay, Tom Cruise. Yeah, I know exactly. Say what you will about Tom Cruise's personal politics or personal life, but props to him for actually, doing that stunt for real, like actually leaping in front of the camera and with all that water coming in, and they only have one take to do it though. So.
I love the music in that scene. I just love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, when
the
train scene at the end, the climax is so awesome from the beginning. The music is just remember, and then that scene has like little pieces of espionage where like someone's trying to hack this person's computer, this person's trying to upload this, and then Ving Rhames, the computer guy, is like aiming his phone to try and disrupt the signal before they get into the tunnel and all this craziness. And then there's a stupid helicopter that John Voight's trying to escape on. It's insane, but it's so awesome. And of course, the end where Jean Reno's character Krieger is like, he's like,
Trying to slice him with
Tom
the
Cruise.
blades.
He's what kind of attempt to kill somebody is that? You try to lower your helicopter so that the blades cut the back of Tom Cruise's neck, and then the helicopter tail hits the ceiling of the tunnel, and then he's in a tunnel because Tom Cruise threw some kind of cable at him to lock him onto the stupid train, and then he's going under the tunnel with the train, and then that like messes him up. So then Tom Cruise jumps onto the helicopter and he's hanging on to like the feet of the helicopter, whatever the landing part of the helicopter is called. And then that's when the music, dun, 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 and I'm like, oh yeah. Then he climbs up, and of course you got to have the action movie guy line at the end who like blows up the bad guy, and he's just like, red lights, green lights, and then like mashes it onto the windshield of the helicopter. And then it's the same exact reaction Jean Reno gives as the poor innocent guy who's just serving food at the stupid upscale restaurant with a whole glass wall that's a fish tank, just trying to make ends meet for his pregnant wife at home. It is old dad who was recently widowed because he can't live by himself. It's the same exact reaction. And he's like, what is that? Why is he putting gum on my windshield? And then it blows up. And then Tom Cruise like uses the explosion's like force to fly back onto the train. And then... What?
Only in the movies, ladies and gentlemen.
Only in the movies. Please don't try this at home. Don't chew it.
There should be like a disclaimer on that packet of gum from Coach Bombay. It says "Do not chew."
Also, so I love how this exploding gum. It was like the last thing we thought of, kind of as a joke, but we just used it to talk about how like awesome Mission Impossible 1996 is in a lot of these scenes. And it's also pretty impractical because he said just don't chew it. And again, I like as like a teacher, I'm constantly talking all day, and I have to get like in like kids' faces, like not like in their face, but like when I'm looking at their work and I'm trying to whisper to them like what's the answer and stuff, so that the other kids don't hear me. It's good to have like gum that helps your breath like, smell good. So gum that you can't chew that just explodes is kind of impractical in my line of work, and probably in most people's line of work in the world. But yeah, that was actually a lot of fun to talk about. Matthew, you're number 3. Your third thing on your list.
The third and final Santa list request. I think a lot of us, I think one of the things we sort of fantasize about is time travel. And
do we though? Or are we more scared of it?
Well, yeah, we'll get into that like probably another time. But to quote a very wise man, he said, if you're going to invent a time machine to a car, why not do it in style? And of course, that is Dr. Emmett L. Brown's DeLorean from Back to the Future. I mean, like, sure, you got like you got the Batmobile from 1989, you got the Ghostbusters car, but like to me, the GOAT's movie vehicle of all time has to be Doc Brown's DeLorean. I mean, like, it's so funny when you watch interviews with Bob Zemeckis and Bob Gale talking about the design of the car. They were putting a big emphasis on the fact that they wanted to look like it was done or it was constructed under someone's garage. Like, it's like this piece is done here, that piece is done there. Even though it's just a big jumble of mess, though, which as an adult, I do kind of notice that. It's like this coil is sticking up and then that reactor is like not quite fitting in, but you kind of like scotch tape it together. But, it's funny, as a kid, I'm not even thinking that. It's just like you have these really cool vents at the back, though. You got like, talk about iconic sound effects like the flux capacitor fluxing and then the time circuit. Fluxing. Yeah, that's your story point right there. And, those Goldwing doors. I mean, like, again, will be very impractical like today. I mean, I think that the Tesla today has Goldwing doors, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know.
It's also impractical because you need so much road to get to 88 miles per hour.
Right, exactly. And From my understanding, the DeLorean itself is actually a terrible car. I mean, it was a discontinued model in the 80s. Apparently, I think there was some controversy involving cocaine, but I believe it was
It also
the
runs on plutonium, Matthew. Where are you going to get that
oh,
from?
but the sequels it runs on Mr. Fusion though. So
So are we
we
talking
fixed
oh
that.
gosh, yeah, I forgot
Okay.
those
Wait,
exist.
wait, we haven't even gotten to
The
the
reason why you
DeLorean
want
from
one.
no, we haven't even got to
The one
the
that
DeLorean
flies,
from
or the one that's a train. Jesus, what happened in the later
oh
movies? Oh gosh,
no, two
oh
two
gosh,
is
what
awesome.
happened?
Back to the Future 2. Back to the Future 2 is awesome. I don't care what you say, it's one of the best sequels ever.
This is
But
the second. This is the second episode in a podcast where you're trying to trick me into appreciating Back to the Future Part Two.
they got the flying DeLorean, we get into is a flying DeLorean. It says, come on, where we're going, we won't need roads. I mean,
No, remember that's 2 and 3 suck to me, but but like that is a pretty amazing like just line and
yeah.
end teaser where we're going. We don't need roads, and it just
Well,
flies off. That's cool.
it's funny. It wasn't meant to be a teaser. It was meant to be a joke. Like Zemeckis and Gale never intended the Back to the Future films to be a franchise.
It shows.
It was.
It shows because the premise
It was
for 2 is
supposed to
dumb.
be a one-off. It was supposed to be a one-off.
Let's fast forward to the future to prevent something in the future instead of just telling you now and being.
That's just the first act.
But you have to do it again anyway when you get there naturally. So what does that do?
It becomes it becomes Days of Future Past. Like in the
Stop
second
trying.
half
You see, look, you choose movies I like. You did this with Forrest Gump in the Forrest Gump episode. You said something, and it was like it's kind of like you said. It's what did you say?
Yeah,
it's like, Gump?
No, I said like no. I said in the Forrest Gump episode, I said like, well, like does Axel Foley really change throughout the movie if Forrest doesn't either?
Everybody else around Axel Foley comes around
Changes.
to his way of doing things, kind of like how everyone has an arc in Forrest Gump except Forrest Gump. So Forrest Gump is kind of like in the Beverly Hills Cop. It's not gonna work. Just the same way where you say, don't you like Terminator? That's time travel. Kind of like Back to the Future Part 2. No, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, or even your favorite Harry Potter film, Prisoner of Azkaban, like that final act is essentially Back to the Future 2.
I will say that Back to the Future 2, at least in cinema, pioneered this idea of going back in time, and then there's another you doing stuff because the other you was already there, and you have to make sure you don't run into the other you, but still do what you got to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
it's funny.
Okay, got it.
It's going back to what I would do with it. It's funny because again, another role Eileen want from your host right here. But he was kind of saying, you know what you could do with this, Matt? It's like you can actually go back to the moment when you were thinking about your list and didn't just list for all new items. So if you weren't happy with the ones that
you can wish for Aladdin's lamp and your wishes didn't turn out right. You cut your hand off by accident with a lightsaber. You just get in the DeLorean and go back in time, and you're just like, I want to wish for these instead.
Yeah, but according to the mythology of Back to the Future, you're not allowed to talk to your former self though, because that's going to create a paradox.
Does that ever happen in the movies and cause a paradox?
Well, I mean, like they try not to meet themselves because
didn't that happen in Star Trek 09? And he was like, you inferred universe collapse.
I am happen. Yeah, I know. Yeah, young Spock, old Spock,
cataclysm would ensue.
Quino and Leonard Nimoy. Yes. But trying to think. I lost some shot. But and another love letter to Back to the Future 2. Like if you recall that scene in Endgame when Ant-Man goes to Tony, he goes like, okay, we clearly know the rules of time travel. We can't talk to our former selves and we can't bet on sporting events. And then Tony goes like, you got all that from Back to the Future, didn't you?
So what you're telling me, the best thing about Back to the Future 2 are the references to it and not the movie itself. Telling me.
So such a lie. But okay, so but if I do want to answer this one question that I'll answer myself.
Right, we'll do this and we'll go to break.
We'll go to break. I think if there is one time period I would want to go back to. And yes, I do have the option of going back to my original timeline. I think it would be May 24th, 1977, because the following day May 25th, 1977 was the world premiere of none other than Star Wars. And I would just want to experience that like 24-hour period where like Star Wars didn't exist or wasn't even aware of the public perception. Just because I honestly can't imagine a world where Star Wars didn't exist. So just that one pocket of time where it doesn't exist, and then like the boom that happened, like, you know, when it premiered. So if there's one place I would want to go back, May 24th, 1977.
And we'll bring my neuralizer, and then we'll just forget what it was like to see this movie, and we'll be experiencing it for the first time like everybody else in 1977.
But here's the thing, because Star Wars is so embedded in my life and so many of my memories. So I feel like almost more than half of my life's memories will be wiped away, you know, at the same token. So what am I going to do?
Well, that's why the neuralizer is such a risky, devious thing to use.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Our Christmas list to Santa. If you're listening up there or wherever the heck you are, if you're fake, but whatever the lore of Christmas is, wherever Santa is, I want Iron Man's Mark 7 armor from the Avengers 2012. I want a neuralizer for Men in Black, and I want the exploding gum for Mission Impossible 1996. Matthew, go ahead. Tell Santa what you want. It will go to break.
Dear Santa, I've been a really good boy this year. So I would like the magical lamp from Aladdin, a lightsaber, one bladed, preferably blue, and Dr. Emmett L. Brown's time travel DeLorean. Yours truly, Matthew Francisco.
Oh, you're better than I am. I didn't sign my list at all. I'm just expecting him to know me.
No, you gotta give respect to the big jolly guy. So, you know.
All right, JMKing Podcast, ladies. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back, JMKing Podcast, the Christmas Special. We're talking about my go-to Christmas film. Well, film series. Well, I'm going to say trilogy. There are 6 films in this series, but I'm still going to call it a trilogy. And the thing about Christmas is food, family, fun, and of course, gifts. And this movie matters as a Christmas film to me because, one, because of the things in the movie that remind me of Christmas. And of course, the sentimentality of it. Because when we saw this movie as a family, all the cousins sat in one row in the theater. And we had a great time with our snacks and popcorn and soda and things. And then the aunts and uncles kind of sat somewhere else because they weren't going to cramp the style of the younger set, so to speak, in the family. And since then, we just make time to watch at least one of the movies in this trilogy because they're so long during Christmas time, because it just still matters to us. And the trilogy that I'm talking about is Lord of the Rings. And particularly my favorite of the 3 is Two Towers.
It's the precious one.
It's the precious. I can't do a Gollum voice, forgive me.
Yeah. Sorry, Andy Serkis.
Sorry. Sorry, dude. But like, I mean, come on. The even though the Fellowship and the 9 delegates and how, or wait, that's actually from the Warriors. That's actually, are they called delegates in Fellowship of the Ring? 9 companions. 9 companions.
9 companions.
9 companions. In the Warriors, in that movie, they're called delegates. The 9 delegates from all the gangs. Whatever, I got it mixed up. But the point is, yeah, they're all different races. You got a dwarf, you got a man, you got an elf. You got 2 men, you got elves, you got wizards, and but they become a family because they are united in this quest, and they all have the same. Matthew's rolling his eyes. They all no. It's a Christmas movie. Dang it! It's a Christmas movie because Christmas is about family. It's about family. It's about food, and they're always eating in these movies. There's all kinds of feasts. They're always presenting each other with gifts because my girl Galadriel got everybody something. She gave them cloaks that give them camouflage. She gave Frodo a light in the cave that he uses. Fix your face. Y'all can't see. It's a Christmas movie, man. There's snow. There's snow in it, and they become a family. And all the people that they meet along the quest, they eat together. They break bread. They break bread together. They fight together. They unite against evil. They're a family, man. It's a Christmas movie. I'm jacking it. Go ahead, Matthew. Explain yourself.
You could have picked from like Frosty the Snowman or Rudolph, or like you didn't pick the Grinch, and you pick Middle Earth. it's like what? It's right. Okay, no, but actually, because it's just my personality. I'm a trained therapist, so I just try to understand where people are coming from. I don't know. I kind of like thought to myself, yeah, it is kind of about family. And then, of course, all the jokes started flying about like, there are elves in the movie. Gandalf the White kind of looks like Santa Claus.
Santa's in it, and there are elves in it.
Exactly.
Christmas movie, man.
Instead of like, I guess, instead of like Santa and 8 reindeer, you have like Gandalf the White and 8 members of the Fellowship.
See?
No, the thing that really,
the mythology of Christmas is all over this movie.
I mean, the thing that really like, this is where I kind of let it slide. Let's talk about it. It's like, you know what? He said, Matthew, you know what the film is really about? It's about a young man who gets a gift from his uncle and tries to return it back to the store.
That's like, part of Christmas too.
That's pretty good. The return is like, no. If you really think about it, it's like trying to return a Christmas gift at like a Walmart or something. Like that's pretty much Mordor right there. I bet, it's funny. We're recording this in 2020. It's pretty much Mordor out there right now.
Listen, isn't it scary?
Yeah.
What do they say? Art reflects life, or life reflects art.
Yeah.
Art reflects reality, or
listen, there's a line.
Art comes from life.
There's a line where like Boromir says in Fellowship, he goes like talking about going to Mount Doom. He's like, like the very air you breathe is a poisonous fume. And then you go to a Walmart where like people are not even social distancing and trying to
evil there that does not sleep.
Not sleep.
And Walmart is open how many hours a day, Matthew?
I think it's 24.
Some are 24. I don't know. It's a stretch. 24. It's a stretch. There's evil there that does not sleep. One does not simply walk into Mordor. Come on, man. Yeah, you don't just simply walk in with the most valuable gift.
I mean, like, imagine trying to like return a PS5 or something now.
If you're able to secure a PS5 these days, you're blessed. If you want to return it, what?
No, the PS5 has basically become the one ring for this holiday season.
It's like, the thing about the ring though is that everybody wants it, but do people know that they can actually use it? Because Boromir's like, it is a gift, and it's like, no, it's not.
Yeah. The wrong ring answers to Sauron alone. But no, it's funny. It's funny. Let's do a comparison between the One Ring and the PlayStation 5, right? Kind of like the One Ring. If you notice, people who possess the PlayStation 5, it's kind of like bringing out the worst in them. Like, you have all these ridiculous, people like scalping them for like ridiculous prices and just like buying every single one of them like without any means. It kind of brings out the worst in people, So, and on a much more serious note, it's kind of about materialism and the fact that although the ring promises you power,
I'm sorry, Matthew. You are a genius. Because you know what?
See, this is why you have me on the. This is why
you're the go-to guy for movie talk. Because Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, it's not really a Christmas movie to most people. But you're such a good friend because you're like helping me along. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
I never thought about how the movie could be about materialism and how people, because the One Ring, it doesn't bring you. It doesn't help you at all. In fact, only Sauron can use it. But everybody wants something that's not really going to bring them any worth or bring them any, whatever that word is that I can't figure out right now.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. People seek material objects thinking that that's going to bring them some kind of edification.
Yeah.
But that one ring isn't going to give you that.
You see, I remember I was watching this one video clip. It's really great. I hope you guys could look it up. It was this clip where George Lucas was actually giving a commencement speech. He was the guest speaker. I forgot what college it was, but he said, the thing about materialism is, once you get something, it's like, you finally got it. You got your PS5, but then you just want more. Okay, not only do I want a PS5, now I need to get the games. Now I need to get the accessories. Now I need to, I'm sure inevitably Sony's going to make the PS5 Pro. But see, the thing about materialism, it's kind of like a drug. It's kind of like a drug, and it's like you're just never ever going to be satisfied. And I think what those three films captured so brilliantly is the kind of the cautionary tale of falling into materialism. I mean, like, Gollum being a perfect test subject of that,
that's
basically
brilliant.
Basically destroyed this man who was once a hobbit just as Frodo, and
he killed like his best friend or his brother or whatever.
Cousin.
He killed his cousin for a piece of jewelry. Does that not describe materialism?
Exactly.
But see, this thing in Lord of the Rings, what was everybody fighting for? They were fighting for each other at the end of the day, because there's that line at the end of Return of the King where after all the speeches, not for Rohan, Gondor, after all the speeches, Aragorn just looks at everybody and he's like, yo, for Frodo, let's fight for each other.
Yeah.
That's what family is. That's what Christmas is all about. Doing things for each other, giving before you look to receive. Is that not Lord of the Rings in a nutshell? Doing for others before yourself. Is that not Lord of the Rings? Frodo, he was ready to die. I mean, at the end of the movie, he was really actually about to keep the ring, so the real hero is him. But that's a heavy sacrifice. That's what Christmas is about. Waiting online to get that gift, or spending all hours in the night working in a stupid upscale restaurant where one whole wall is a glass fish tank just because you need to make ends meet for your pregnant wife at home and your father who's living with you because your mom just died and we can't let grandpa live by himself. So I need to work crazy hours in this restaurant so that my face gets blown up by a piece of stupid exploding gum. Yeah. That's part of what Christmas is about also. Just like the strain that we put on ourselves to make sure that we get something that everyone around us needs, all of our loved ones need. So think about all of these characters and how even when they were so split up. And Christmas is all about reunions with people you love and care about. You don't get to see them all year, but we make sure that at least for Christmas, we get together to be in one place and see each other's faces. And think about like the end of Return of the King when some of them think they're dead. Like, you're still alive? Gandalf, I saw you fall. He has fallen into shadow. I thought you were dead, dog. You're alive? And you look like Santa. It's a Christmas movie. Santa. It's a Christmas trilogy.
Look, okay, to your point, because I'm such a good friend, I'll actually support you at the end of this. If we live in a world where Die Hard is considered a Christmas movie, why not Lord of the Rings?
Why not Lord of the Rings? Can we park here real quick before we move on to your go-to Christmas movie? What the heck is it about Die Hard that everybody's like, it's a Christmas movie? Is it just because it takes place during Christmas? Like, what kind of themes in the plot and in the characters have to do with Christmas?
It's about a guy trying to rebuild. It's about a guy who's trying to reunite with his family. Come on.
Is he though?
Yeah, he's trying to get back with not really get back with his wife, but like trying to make a connection with his wife again.
Okay, that's in a lot of movies.
There's he says ho. He like spray paints like ho 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 on like one of the terrorists though. So that's Christmas.
And Hans Gruber is materialistic because he wants money.
Exactly.
That's why it's a Christmas
You're just a
movie.
common thief. You're just a common
And Carl
thief.
Winslow's in it, and he's like, whenever
He's
see
a jolly old fat man. Not to fat shame him, but he's jolly.
No, he's fat.
Jolly.
It's not shaming. He knows.
Yeah. Well, there's an entire joke where he eats this weird subplot where he has this obsession with Twinkies though. Like he buys the entire grocery of like Twinkies and stuff though. So yeah.
Listen, thank you. Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings trilogy is added to the AFI all-time Christmas list. I just made that up. I don't know if that exists.
So it's part of the Christmas canon. The Christmas canon.
Lord of the Rings, Christmas canon. It's about family. It's not about a blood family, but it's about people who come together like a family to make sacrifices for each other, cook for each other, fight for each other, give each other things, and fight against materialism. Cool.
Right.
All right, Matthew, your go-to Christmas film.
Well, I mean, certainly not as, shall we say, unique as Mr. King's choice, but listen, guys. When I think Christmas, there's only two people. There's two people that make Christmas for me: Santa Claus and Macaulay Culkin. So
you didn't.
So too bad. It's just only. I was trying to do the Home Alone scream. Oh, I gave it away. Yes. So of course, my go-to Christmas film is Home Alone. Like, again, there's always this childhood nostalgia. I watch Home Alone at nauseum. I mean, like, it just has it has snow, it has the tree lights, and it's funny. As an adult, I start kind of researching other people's opinions on Home Alone, what the general consensus. It actually didn't critically. It didn't get such a warm reception when it came out. I think particularly Siskel and Ebert kind of ripped apart the movie in their review. All these plot holes about. Oh yeah. Siskel and Ebert were not big fans of this movie, though. I think there were all these plot holes about why didn't he call the parents, or why didn't the parents call Kevin when they were at Paris, or that famous Angel with Filthy Souls gag where Kevin would play.
Oh my gosh! Come on, Raj.
Yeah, exactly. Play the mob. Play the mob video, then make the pizza guy scare away. It's it's all these plot holes. But you see, as a kid, you're not thinking about any of that. And I think the brilliance of John Hughes, who was the producer and writer of the film, he kind of he steeps into that childhood mentality. It's kind of almost a childhood's fantasy of what would it be like to be home alone. Sure, you could criticize the movie for saying, well, how could have Kevin set up all these elaborate traps in less than 30 minutes. I think one of the things that Ebert said was well, you would practically need $10,000 with all those flamethrowers and mud and all these hot glue stuff.
Dude, he missed the point.
You missed the point of the movie.
It's kind of
it's kind of it's are we calling him Raj? We're calling him Raj now.
Raj.
No, I think he was upset that because the movie's set in Chicago and he's from Chicago, so maybe he had some beef about that. But yeah, you have to it's shot from a kid's point of view, and it's kind of I almost think of it as if a kid is telling you a story, he's gonna play with words a bit, though. He's gonna exaggerate some details and whatnot. So, in my mind, I kind of see the movie as almost if Kevin were to walk up to you and he tells me, hey, Mr. Francisco, I was left alone by my parents for 2 days, on Christmas Eve. And I go What did you do, Kevin?
There was
Like,
there were robbers that were
they're
trying to eat
robbed.
my fingers, and one of them had a gold tooth. So I shot him with a BB gun, and then I tricked them into following me to my treehouse. And I stuck a nail in one guy's foot with the tar on my
Yeah,
basement steps. And I went shopping on my own. And then the shopping bags broke on my way, and all this. It's like, that's an interesting
exactly.
interpretation. This is just like a kid's retelling of what happened when he was home. It's like all in his
Exactly.
mind. But
So
like what really happened was like, nah, he sat around and like just ate snacks
yeah.
for
I
two
mean, like,
days.
yeah. I mean, hey, if I would listen, if I was left home alone, it'd be like the most uneventful thing ever. I'd probably like, let's see, I was, if let's see, he was about 8 when
8
he was
years
left
old.
home alone.
I just watched
So
TV and eat snacks all
let's
day.
see, I probably watch TV, watch Nickelodeon, and mess around with my PlayStation. I'm a PlayStation guy.
Yeah, I'm
Guys.
an expert.
Play
He didn't.
Crash.
You're telling me he didn't have any friends in the neighborhood that he can call and say, "Hey, my
It's funny.
parents left me here by accident."
That was the other criticism of the movies. Like, oh, why didn't you call anybody for help though? But
But
it's
then you
funny.
wouldn't have a movie,
Exactly.
and then you
Again,
wouldn't have spawned all these other Home Alone copycats.
yeah. I
Like
will say, the
Blank
second
Check.
one, the second one kind of gets a lot of flack for being a basically. It was kind of like The Force Awakens before The Force Awakens happened, where it's not so much a sequel but more of a remake, and it's like it's literally the same exact movie just set in New York.
It's the same exact movie, just set in New
It's
York.
literally the same. Like instead of Old Man Marley, you got like the Pigeon Lady. There's even a sequel to Angels Within Filthy Souls.
Angels with
It's called
filthier
Filthier
souls, I think it was
Souls.
called.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And like instead of tricking the pizza guy, he tricks the
Room
Tim
service.
Curry.
Tim
The
Curry.
Curry. No,
Love that
Tim
guy.
Curry.
Donald
Of
Trump's in
course,
that movie too.
Donald Trump. Yeah, oh, you stole my story.
Donald
Come
Trump.
on. It is a cameo by the president of the United States. I mean, like,
Was he a
but
Democrat back then?
yeah. I mean,
Switch sides, just
who knows? Who knows? And it's funny. I was talking about the difference between Home Alone 1 and 2. It's like, and it's a question that I was, proposing to Jonathan one time. It's like, because he and I watch a lot of movies as kids, and I one time proposed to him. I said, like, how much of those movies we watched as kids are actually really good, or are they really good because we grew up with them? So I would say Home Alone 2 is more of like, I like it because I grew up with it. I just love all the gags. I love that Kevin basically orders like $900 worth of room services. I love the Pigeon Lady. I love going to Mr. Duncan's toy chest. I mean, like, come on, it's so awesome. But honestly, you look at Home Alone, an imperfect film. I'm not going to shy away from the plot holes that have been brought up. I'm not going to try to defend those. But I think it actually, as corny as it may sound, I think it actually does have a heart, because,
of course it does.
I mean, like you watch that scene, like the kind of quote of the epilogue at the end of Home Alone, because there's this scene where, well, backtrack a bit. There's this character named Old Man Marley, who is rumored to be, like a child murderer or murdered his family, I believe. And then like throughout the entire film, like Kevin
Some
is
kind of
just
scary
so
old neighborhood
kind
man.
of scary, spooky old man that
like a
lives
Boo
next
Radley
door.
kind of guy.
The Boo Radley with the shovel, and like he's a really decrepit old guy. So he spends his entire movie like really avoiding this guy. But then like Kevin ends up going Kevin ends up going to church.
Yeah.
I think because he was feeling like really lonely at some point. And then Old Man Marley actually walks up to him, and then they actually have a very decent. They have kind of like a meeting of the mind. So he's like, I'm not such a bad guy, and they, in a way, like despite their age gap and despite the fact that they never ever talk to each other, I think that in that one moment, Marley and Kevin actually have a meeting of the hearts, in the sense that they're both missing their families.
Yeah.
In a sense, in a way, Marley is Home Alone himself.
Oh.
But Kevin kind of, because the thing is, at the beginning of the film, Kevin kind of says, "Oh, hey, I made my family disappear. Now it's time to have some fun." And then, but throughout the movie, he realizes that being alone sucks.
It sucks.
It sucks. And being alone during the holidays sucks. I mean, like, look at us here, 2020. We can't even be, I mean, we could be with our immediate families, but we can't have that big, huge gathering. So,
These series of episodes during this pandemic are just going to be perfect time capsules.
perfect time. Hey,
so like in like 5 years, when people
we'll look
binge
back.
the pod and they're like, what do you mean you couldn't see your family? You had to stay home during Thanksgiving and Christmas. What are y'all talking about?
Right. So, so Kevin throughout the movie, he realizes, oh, wow, it really does suck to be alone. And it super sucks to be alone, like during the holidays. And then he has a very nice conversation with this man, old man Marley. And then he sees like this poor guy who's been so demonized by the neighbors, saying, oh, like he's a family killer, a child killer, like he's a creepo, don't talk to him.
Whatever they said about him, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like this really sad, lonely guy who is alone. And I think in the conversation you find out that he had some sort of falling out with his son, and because that the falling out was so bad, his son and his family choose not to see him anymore. And he said the reason why he was in church that day, when Kevin was showing up in the same mass, was because he wanted to see his granddaughter sing. His granddaughter, I think, was doing some sort of
like a concert, some kind of holiday singing
holiday concert. She had like a choir solo. She said this is the only way I can see my granddaughter, because because of my foolishness, because I lost my temper with my son. Now I can't see my granddaughter. And then like Kevin kind of goes like, I mean, like, don't you think that, talking to your son is more important than being angry at him? And then he kind of goes like, oh, I don't know. And then you flash forward to the epilogue of the film. It's like literally, Kevin's family comes back, of course, very conveniently on Christmas Day with snow falling and all that. And then this is where you start to bring up the tissue boxes, John Williams. Music done by John Williams, by the way.
And he just, he needs
no introduction. Really knocks it. A man who needs no introduction, starts to pull your heartstrings with the music. And then it's Kevin, literally. He pulls out the curtains from the window, and then he sees like old man Marley with his family reunited, and like he's literally like embracing like his granddaughter, because obviously it's implied that Marley kind of took Kevin's advice to talk to his son. And just as Kevin is reunited with his family at the end of the movie, so too is old man Marley. And
does old man Marley give Kevin the Last Crusade one hand Galadriel
it's kind of, that's true. Yeah, it is.
Gives him that like the thanks, the greeting, or the George McFly. Is that it? Is that the Mount Rushmore of just one-handed waves?
Oh my God, are we gonna
stick your hand up? Is that the Mount Rushmore? Old man Marley,
we need
George McFly, Galadriel, and the dude in the cave in the Last Crusade.
Wow, yeah. I think Sir Richard in Last Crusade. Oh gosh, but that has to be, dude. That has to be a new list though. But yes, it's wonderful, moment. And of course, the little button in the end when like you hear Buzz going, "Kevin, what have you done with my room?"
You gotta have the gag at the end.
You gotta have the gag at the end. I could kind of talk about, I could talk about the booby traps, Daniel Stern as Marv, and of course Joe Pesci. It's funny when people think Joe Pesci, they think like Goodfellas or Martin Scorsese or Raging Bull. I think Wet Bandit's Harry. I could talk about all the slapstick stuff, but I think what really makes the film special is the heart. There is actually an emotional core to the movie. So, again, for all those reasons and more, I kind of think it is, just as Christmas is a seminal, timeless season of the year, so too is Home Alone. So,
and Home Alone does this other thing, and my rule: kids in movies suck. So, like, my rule, listeners, is that kids in movies suck, but there's two exceptions. Well, okay, here's the rule: kids suck in movies unless the movie is about them, or if there's some kind of MacGuffin. Mm-hmm. We're kind of just making this up as the second rule we're kind of making up as we go along. Well, like Kevin McAllister
Yeah.
is like
Protagonist.
amazing. He's the protagonist. He's amazing in this movie. You know, the Harry Potter kids, they're great. We're very fortunate that they turned out to be outstanding young actors. Are there any other examples, Matthew, of like the Goonies, which people talk about, but I've never seen?
Goonies, Elliot from E.T.
Elliot from E.T., the kids in Mighty Ducks.
Well, no, I would say
know?
Bombay. It's really Bombay. Well, the first two are Bombay's movies. The third one's more like Charlie, but it's funny. Just as a, we're gonna go back into your thing, but I just also want to plug. The movie was also directed by Chris Columbus, and who ended up doing the first two Harry Potter films. And I think one of the reasons why Warner Brothers gave him the gig for Harry Potter is because they saw Home Alone, and they go like, "Oh my God, this is a movie about a kid who has no family and has to fend for himself."
And what the heck got him the job for Pixels?
Adam Sandler.
Sorry. What the heck, guys?
He still has hurt feelings about Pixels.
It was supposed. Come on, how cool would that have been? It was like, it's just Ghostbusters, except you replace ghosts with video game characters. Like, how amazing is that? Giant video game characters taking over New York City, and we need the Game Busters, whatever they would call them. Like, that's all you have to do. Just make Ghostbusters and replace ghosts with video games. It's so easy. Anyway. But yeah, that's the rule. So this movie definitely kind of supports that rule, where kids suck in movies unless the movie's about them or unless there's some kind of MacGuffin. And then there are exceptions to either. Well, actually, no, we discovered today that there actually are no exceptions to that rule. Those are the two rules.
We're not done. We're not finished with that yet, but I think, that's a conversation for another time.
It is. And that time will come.
But
as for right now, our time has come with this podcast. Yeah. So thank you for joining us for the first annual JMKing Podcast Christmas Special, holiday special. And we had a great time. Go ahead.
Yeah.
This is one thing I want to say. Go ahead.
Before I go, for those of you listening, and I hope there's a lot of you out there, on behalf of me and my dear friend Jonathan King, we hope that you and your loved ones are having a safe, healthy, and very fun holiday season. And I guess we'll see you in the new year. You're the respectful one, remember? Yeah. You gotta add that little but. I gotta wrap everything in a bow at the end. You are the respectful one. Is that it? I think I want to do one more thing. I kind of want to put you on the spot. Bonus round. I want to put you on the spot. I want to put you on the spot. Here's the bonus round. Here's the epilogue. Okay. We talked about lightsabers earlier. The lightsaber igniting is one of the most iconic sounds in cinema, of course. Mm-hmm. Do you remember my favorite instance of a lightsaber igniting in terms of how it sounds? Easy. It was Return of the Jedi, Jabba's sail barge, when R2-D2 shoots Luke Skywalker's green lightsaber, and then Luke grabs it and goes like zing. Which, by the way, it sounds different from all the others. Yeah, it's got an attitude, and it's green. It's like Luke is like, "Whoa, it's green! That's so cool." R2. Which, by the way, it's my text tone for when I get messages on my iPhone. So I love that one because all the other ones are like, vroom, 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 vroom. But this one is like, pew! Like it's got an attitude to it. I love it. I love that sound. I think Jonathan's just jealous of my choice, of my number 2 choice. This is him just being jealous right now. I'm not jealous of your stupid lightsaber because it's completely impractical for my line of work. I don't need a lightsaber for anything. Zombie apocalypse, that's when you need a lightsaber. It's silent. It opens up any doors. It can kill zombies. Listen. Well, see, this is why friendship is important because Jonathan, if I ever get a lightsaber, you're invited to my place anytime, and you could just look at it, and I'll turn it on so you could hear that awesome sound. So, that's what you do, man, with your friends. You collaborate. I had the N64, and my friend had a PlayStation. So between the two of us, and the other guy with the Xbox, so between the three of us, we had everything. And that's what the holidays are all about. That's what the holidays are all about: sharing, so that as a unit, we have everything. Yeah. But it still feels good to go home and play your copy of Smash Brothers because you're the only one with the 64 and your friends have PlayStation,
an Xbox, so they can't play Super Smash Brothers. At the time of this recording, who knows what kind of craziness Microsoft does with Nintendo and maybe gets. They already got Master Chief in Fortnite and Banjo-Kazooie's in Smash Brothers. Who knows what could happen in the future?
All right.
Anyway, final thoughts. Movie Matt, any final thoughts?
Hey, just shows to you that, I think we're approaching. We're both in our 30s now, right? We're approaching 30, and it just shows you that Christmas spirit is, no matter how old you get, never lose sight of that Christmas child spirit, though. So it'll get you through the trials of life. Always hold on to that.
Yes, sir. And remember, Christmas should not be the only time that we appreciate each other, that we love each other, that we do for each other first and not ourselves. All that good stuff. Don't wait for the holidays to be a good person to your family. Share that Christmas spirit year round, people. And with that, usually you're the one that comes up with the impromptu, beautiful, wonderful, warm message. Today it was me. It's interesting.
Well, it is your show.
All right, everybody. We're my go-to guy for movies. Thanks for joining us again, Matthew Francisco, aka Movie Matt.
Next time.
Tune in for the next episode. Thanks again for spending your time here at the JMKing Podcast. Stay tuned and keep listening on your podcast platform of choice. I'm on nearly all of them. Don't forget to visit my website, jmkingpodcast.podbean.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, JMKing Vids Pods, and follow me on Twitter at JMKing Vids Pods. With that, this is Jonathan M. King, signing off.